Charlotte, North Carolina breaks into protests following a police shooting.
And the UN halts aid to Syria following an attack on a convoy. Citrus TV News starts right now.
From the Citrus TV studios, this is Citrus TV News live at 6, your campus news leader.
Good evening and welcome to Citrus TV News live at 6. I'm Meghan Mistry.
And I'm Nick Papantonis. Central New York faces a heroin epidemic, and that's tonight's top story.
The heroin and opioid epidemic has hit parts of the country especially hard, especially here in Onondaga County.
Citrus TV reporter Nicole Dementri is here to tell us how the problem persists in this community.
It's the snapshot seen on everyone's Facebook timelines. Last week, police in eastern Ohio released this picture of a grandmother and her friend passed out from an alleged overdose of heroin with her 4-year-old grandson still in the back seat. Although it may seem irrational, addiction specialist Dessa Bergen-Seco sees it differently.
What you call kind of the survival part of your brain takes over from your rational part of your brain, and literally all people are thinking about is how do they get their next fix.
Here in Onondaga County, that image may not be too far off. Data collected by the medical examiner's office show unintentional fentanyl-related deaths surpassing last year's numbers, and prescription opioid deaths just over half of the amount seen in 2015. And these numbers were just through June of this year.
I'm not going to dispute the numbers. The numbers speak for themselves.
In terms of the problem with the increase in overdosing is you have more people that are addicted, more people that are using, and what's being sold on the streets is adulterated.
To combat this epidemic, Onondaga County recently created a drug task force.
There's still a lot of work to be done, but heroin's always going to be there. Heroin's been around since the opiate wars of the 19th century. So it's not going away. We have to reduce it or give people alternatives beyond what they have.
And DeWitt Police Department is one of 8 police departments in Onondaga County where you can take prescription drugs like this and dispose of these prescription drugs or sharp needles in these drug disposal bins.
There are a number of efforts in this community, Syracuse Behavioral Health Care Clinic, Conifer Park, a number of them who have the resources to help people.
New York State also recently received a grant that may make reversal and anti-addiction medications a bit cheaper. Exactly by how much, though, is still unclear. For Citrus TV, I'm Nicole Dementri.
5 years after fleeing the U.S., Alexander and Seema March have finally surrendered to mortgage fraud. The Syracuse couple went to Canada after taking over $240,000 in mortgage loans for multiple Syracuse properties. They engaged in fraud between February of 2006 and July of 2010. The two will face charges of third-degree larceny and first-degree scheme to fraud.
Syracuse's unemployment rates are the lowest they have been in 9 years. The rate fell to 4.5% last month. That drop is due to several factors such as more people retiring than entering the workforce. Younger people are delaying entering the working world because they're going to college more frequently. The unemployment rate was also down across the state and nationally last month. And it's what we already knew. Varsity is one of the best college pizza places in the country. It ranks among the top 21 on Thrillist.com. This makes me laugh. Ready? Quote, if the restaurants could have personality disorders, Varsity would be a 90s serial killer. The joint opened in 1926 and has become a favorite among students and Syracuse alumni. It makes 200 pizzas on game day.
And the Syracuse University NAACP has announced its town hall meeting. The meeting will happen tomorrow at 7 p.m. in Heroy Auditorium. It comes in the middle of NAACP week. The week celebrates SU's chapter with fundraising discussions, meetings, and panelists. The group works to speak about police brutality and injustices that people and students of color face in their community.
Coming up after the break, protests break out in North Carolina over a police shooting.
And the UN is forced to end aid to Syria in the wake of a convoy attack.
Today, Syracuse students saw temperatures in the mid to high 70s, but temperatures are going to be dropping this weekend. Find out what the weather has in store for your plans in my full weather forecast coming up.
Look, it's those guys. Are you good to drive?
I'm fine.
How many did you have? I should be fine.
You should be.
Go and step out of the vehicle for me.
See ya, buddy. Good luck. So turns out, buzz driving and drunk driving, they're the same thing, and it costs around $10,000. So not worth it.
This is the story of a boy who didn't talk for a long time. The boy liked things to always be the same. Any changes would scare and upset him. The unknown was an unfriendly place. The boy was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where they couldn't get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. He wasn't trying to be mean, it just made him feel uncomfortable. Sometimes he would flap his arms again and again.
One day, I found out I have something called autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I found my voice and learned all the ways I could live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Hundreds of protesters lined the streets in Charlotte, North Carolina last night after police shot a man while looking for a different suspect. Police said they were searching for someone with an outstanding warrant yesterday. They say they saw Keith Lamont Scott with a firearm exit his car and that he was, quote, posing an imminent threat.
Officers approached the car and fatally shot Scott. 7 police officers and 1 civilian injured in the protests were taken to the hospital.
And the photographer of the Skittles picture that Donald Trump Jr. used in a tweet criticizing refugees yesterday came out as a refugee himself.
David Kitos fled Cyprus when he was 6 years old following the Turkish invasion in 1974. He and his family relocated to the UK, where he now works as a database developer.
Kitos stated that his picture of the bowl of Skittles in Trump's tweet was used without his permission and that he disagrees with Trump's stance on refugees.
Anthony Weiner is once again involved in a sexual scandal, but this time with a 15-year-old girl.
The former New York congressman allegedly wrote inappropriate messages and sent shirtless pictures to the young girl for months. They first began talking through direct messages on Twitter in January.
Weiner's wife has released a statement saying the texts are a hoax, but when asked by officials, Weiner did not deny talking to the girl.
The Standing Rock Sioux tribe put up a fight yesterday against the construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline. The tribe brought their complaints to the UN Human Rights Council to get international opposition to the project.
The pipeline would break treaties between the tribe and the government that recognize the Sioux's national sovereignty. The tribe says the project would destroy sacred places and burials.
The Chicago Police Department will be adding 972 new officers in the next 2 years. The hires will include 516 patrol officers and 200 detectives.
After the increase, the city will have more than 13,000 officers. This is to try and curb the increase in gun violence, particularly the number of homicides. The city recently surpassed the total amount of homicides in all of last year.
An airstrike in Syria destroyed United Nations trucks and Syrian Arab Red Crescent warehouse. 18 of the 31 trucks that were destroyed were bringing aid to Syrians during the ceasefire.
The UN announced in a recent meeting that in response to the attack, they were forced to end all aid to the war-torn country. UN Secretary Ban Ki-moon spoke on the issue.
The United Nations has been forced to suspend aid convoys as a result of this outrage. The humanitarians delivering life-saving aid were heroes.
The U.S. is now holding Russia responsible for Monday's airstrike on the aid convoy in Syria. During the strike, at least 20 civilians and one Red Cross staff member died.
The airstrike ended the ceasefire that was put in place last week by Secretary of State John Kerry. He's hoping to restore the agreement and called for an immediate aircraft grounding at the UN meeting earlier today.
There was a major security breach today at the Israeli embassy in Ankara, Turkey. Turkish-born Osman Nuri Jalaskin attempted to enter the embassy with a 12-inch knife, but was stopped before he could gain access to the building.
Jalaskin was shot in the leg when he failed to comply with security officers. According to the Israeli foreign minister spokesman, everyone who is inside the embassy is safe.
And it truly was a beautiful day in Syracuse today, but will that warm weather stick around?
Lindsay Wolfson joins us in the studio now. Lindsay, what's the weather forecast?
Well, currently temperatures are around 79 degrees. Today, students saw temperatures scraping the low 80s, but predominantly felt like the 70s due to the high winds that was going on. Currently, there is no % chance of rain, and humidity is around pretty mild for Syracuse at around 38%. As we look closer at our region, we can see that most temperatures are consistent with Syracuse today. We can see that temperatures are in the high to mid 70s as we get a little more east of New York, and as we get a little west, temperatures seem to be still in the 80s at this time of day. Now, as we look at the next 12 hours, we can see that there is actually no precipitation on the horizon, which is always great to see in Syracuse. Now, looking ahead to tonight, we can see temperatures will be in the mid-50s at around 54 degrees. There is, again, no % of rain, and humidity is pretty high at around 71%. Now, as we look tomorrow, tomorrow's high will be around 86 degrees. There's a 20% chance of rain, but we probably will not see that rain tomorrow, fortunately. And humidity will be, around 50%, which is pretty standard for Syracuse. As we take a closer look at our Thursday forecast, when you wake up tomorrow, temperatures will be in the high 50s. Grab that jacket before heading out to class. It's going to be pretty breezy. Now, as around noon, temperatures will soar back up into the mid-80s at around 86 degrees. And then once again, by dinner time, 6 p.m., temperatures will go back down to 63 degrees. So it should be a beautiful day tomorrow. Now, as we look at temperature the next 7 days, we can see that temperatures have been pretty consistent at around the low 80s for the past week, but as we get closer to this weekend, temperatures are going to drop. Temperatures are expected to drop into the low to mid 60s, especially this weekend, and start to go up later in the weekend and early this next week. Now, as we take a closer look at our 5-day forecast, Thursday temperatures will be around 86 degrees. The low will be about 63 degrees at night. Friday will have thunderstorms in the afternoon, but not in the morning, and temperatures will drop down to 69 degrees. On Saturday, temperatures, not much chance of rain, but it will be about 65 degrees. And as we look closer, Sunday during Juice Jam, temperatures will be pretty chilly at around 63 degrees. So you might want to rethink that summer outfit because it's going to be a little breezy. The winds are going to be pretty strong. And as we take a closer look towards Monday, temperatures will go back up and closer to 70 at around 68 degrees.
So, Lindsay, today was the last day of summer officially. Tomorrow, fall begins. It felt like summer today. When's it going to start really feeling like fall?
Well, this weekend is a perfect example of what's going to start to happen. There are going to start to be pockets where temperatures start to drop a little bit lower into the mid to low 60s, but they will go probably right back up until probably mid-October. So we can still enjoy that summer weather for a little bit longer.
Okay, and then you said that we can expect a little bit of rain moving into early next week?
Actually, this Friday, we're going to see some afternoon thunderstorms, but hopefully they won't be too bad and hopefully won't influence your weekend plans at all.
Awesome. Thank you, Lindsay.
Thanks, Lindsay.
And coming up after the break, a new study reports that U.S. water contamination is on the rise.
And Viacom is looking for new leadership.
We'll be right back. Got a quarter?
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who wants to care of you.
UN member nations are taking action against drug-resistant bacteria. The countries pledged to regulate the sale of antimicrobial medicines, educate people on how to prevent drug-resistant infections, and encourage the development of new antibiotics. Over the next 2 years, they will plan to develop a plan that will get rid of a bacteria which could prevent 700,000 deaths a year. And Mylan's EpiPen chief executive Heather Bresch was called and grilled during a congressional hearing today. Bresch was called to testify after Mylan raised the price for EpiPens to $600 earlier this month. During the hearing, the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform called out Mylan and accused the company of trying to get rich off of a life-saving product.
218 million Americans are at risk for drinking bad tap water. This is according to a new analysis released on Tuesday by the Environmental Working Group. It says the contamination is due to the dangerous levels of chromium, the long-term effects of which are not known. California is currently the only state to regulate that chemical's maximum level. And today, Google launched Allo, their new messaging app. It uses Google's personal assistant feature, also called Google Assistant. Allo looks very similar to other messaging apps with its abilities to record voice messages and send text and photos. New features also automatically reply to messages or help with quick searches.
Volkswagen faces $9.2 billion in damage claims from lawsuits. Over 1,000 damage claims on the popular German car company come from investors over the last year's emissions scandal. Researchers found some Volkswagen cars emitted almost 40 times the permitted levels of nitrogen oxides. The regional court in Germany said today that the investor lawsuits equal about half of its normal yearly intake.
The interim CEO at Viacom will be leaving on November 15th. Tom Dooley took leadership in August after last executive was removed following a legal battle. Viacom owns household entertainment agencies such as Comedy Central, MTV, and Nickelodeon. The company is struggling to improve their profits as cable viewership continues to decline. They're hoping their newly hired board members can change that trend.
Coming up in sports, Syracuse football looks to rebound from 2 consecutive blowout losses to Louisville and USF, and the Syracuse men's soccer team looks to make some history. Plus, I take a look at one of the keys to the success of the number 2 men's soccer squad. Citrus TV News live at 6. We'll be right back.
Here we go. We're going to go out there in the rain. You're going to get wet. All right, here we go. Oh, no. Okay, quick. Oh, yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Again, Syracuse is reeling after 2 consecutive blowout losses to Louisville and USF, and it still appears that the players are still adjusting to the unique system of Coach Dino Babers. Because of that transition period, the players know that important leadership is needed on the field.
There's a lot of guys, Eric Dungy, Zaire, a lot of guys step up, be vocal leaders as well as leaders on the field. They do a good job of bringing the guys along when, somebody might be tired or somebody might be feeling bad. They do a good job of picking each other up to, keep on fighting.
Yeah, I feel like last year I kind of, as a freshman, so I kind of sat back. But this year, I really try to take a leadership role. I'm not trying to snap on anybody, but I want to be perfect. That's all I want to be. So I'm not going to, try to, make someone just feel terrible. But if they're doing something wrong, just got to get on them.
Up next for the Orange is UConn, a team that has already defeated an ACC opponent. The Huskies took down Virginia 13-10 last Saturday. Game time at Rentschler Field is at 1 p.m. And moving over to the pitch, the Syracuse men's soccer team looked to make history last night in Ithaca. The number 2 ranked Orange traveled to face Cornell, and with a victory, SU would set a new program record for wins to start a season with 8. And Ian McIntyre's squad got the job done. Goals from Miles Robinson, Liam Callahan, and Jonathan Hagman were enough to secure the 3-1 victory for the Orange. SU peppered the Big Red goal with 29 shots on the night, 16 of them on target. The offense has now already scored 19 goals on the season. Defensively, Hendrik Hilpert conceded his first goal since September 4th when Cornell's George Pedlow scored in the 32nd minute. That broke a streak of 342 minutes in which Syracuse opponents failed to score. Up next for Cuse is number 3 ranked Notre Dame in South Bend. Last time SU was there, they walked away as ACC champions. And the success of the Orange can be partially contributed to its unique formation. At the center of it all is Mo Adams, who has had to serve as a key midfielder in every SU game. I took a look at his transition from England to America and his importance to this young Syracuse squad. Ian McIntyre knows how hard it is to transition from European soccer to American soccer.
It's college soccer. There's that physicality, there's that combative nature. Sometimes our game doesn't calm down, sometimes it gets quicker and quicker.
One of the newest additions to the Syracuse men's soccer squad who has had to deal with that transition is Mo Adams. The freshman from Nottingham, England, previously played for the under-18 teams of Derby County and Nottingham Forest. But now, as a new player to American soccer, Adams has had to deal with more aggressive play than he is used to.
It's a lot more physical here. In England, it's, the football's actually on the ground rather than, I think there's more teams that we're playing against and they keep going along here. But besides that, it's fine.
Adjusting to a new style of soccer is not the only challenge that Adams has had here in the States. He's also had to play a very demanding position. In Ian McIntyre's 3-5-2 formation, Adams plays as a solo central defensive midfielder, and he's done very well in that position for the Orange.
It's definitely really appropriate to point out what Mo Adams is doing for this team, because he plays on a position where you cannot evaluate him with saves or goals or something. But the way he's fighting for this team is incredible.
Adams has done very well this season in keeping possession and making key tackles in the defensive third. And even though he is not in a position to score goals, Adams knows that his skill set is invaluable to the success of the Orange.
My part is crucial. I mean, I'm kind of limited in what I do going forward, but that just gives the players and the forward line a chance to express themselves. And with me holding, when we have possession, I'm all about getting the ball, switching the ball, just keeping us ticking. And I have a big responsibility defensively, but we've done great.
Adams may not show up on the score sheet, but it's clear that his teammates understand his contributions as a defensive anchor for this strong Syracuse squad. Reporting from the SU Soccer Stadium, Christian de Guzman, Citrus TV.
So Christian, Syracuse is about to play UConn this weekend. How do you see those two teams matching up?
It's going to be a tough offensive game for both teams. We've seen ups and downs from both of those teams offensively. If I had to give a score prediction, I think 31-28 Syracuse would be the right call, but points are going to be at a premium in that game.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Christian.
And the Farmstead Corn Maze and Pumpkin Festival in Meriden, Ohio is drawing a lot of attention because of their design of their corn maze.
We'll be right back with more details.
Every time I hear the alarm bell go off in school, I think it's an air raid.
A lot of houses in our neighborhood have been destroyed. I like to close my ears and sing songs whenever the bombs come close.
I'm worried our new neighbors won't like us.
But I know it's all gonna be worth it. I just want my family to be safe. But these are not my words.
These are not my words.
These are not my words.
They said I have troll teeth.
That my voice sounded like a possessed baby doll.
That no one would ever love someone as stupid as me.
That I was fat, ugly.
Disgusting.
The effect of bullying is potent.
We will no longer be the silent majority.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
We're gonna take action with the I.
I am a witness. I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness.
I am a witness, and so are you.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
So Lindsay, you know, Juice Jam's coming up this weekend. How do we foresee, you know, the concerts with such cool weather?
Well, unfortunately, we're probably going to have to see a lot more pants this year. Usually people are wearing shorts or in their summer outfits. It's their final summer hurrah, but unfortunately it's going to be a little chillier, so you might want to bundle up to just be careful.
And what are we looking like for rain in that forecast?
Definitely this weekend we shouldn't see much precipitation. It should be pretty clear. We have a slight thunderstorm on Friday, but it should hopefully be cleared up all by the weekend.
All right, thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you. Well, Jimmy Fallon is no longer just on the big screen. He's in a corn maze.
And that corn maze takes more than a month to make. Wait till you get this. It is in its 20th year of being a corn maze, and it covers 20 acres and more than 1 million ears of corn.
The Tonight Show hasn't responded yet or made a comment about how Jimmy Fallon is literally seen in the maze. But most people think it's amazing, and I kind of think it's a little corny.
And I say it looks pretty good. You can see it on your screen right now. Well, that is all the time we have for Citrus TV News Live at 6. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at CitrusTV and like us on Facebook. I'm Nick Papantonis.
And I'm Meghan Mistry. Have a good night, Syracuse.